Hi, everyone. This is Lawrence Watkins, and welcome to the Financial Juneteenth 5. These are my 5 favorite articles as it relates to Black finance, wealth, and business for today, October 28th, 2020. Let's go ahead and get started. All right, so the first article today comes from the New York Times, and it states PayPal invests in racial equality. The company is putting $50 million in Black and Latino led venture capital firms. So PayPal will invest more than $50 million in 8 Black and Latino-led venture capital firms. Chingona Ventures, Fearless Fund, Harlem Capital, Precursor, Slauson and Company, Vamos Ventures, Zeal Capital Partners, and one fund yet to be named. It follows millions in grants that PayPal has given to Black-owned businesses affected by the pandemic or protests, and Optimus Bank, a Black-focused lender as well. There's a quote in here from Dan Schulman, who is PayPal CEO. It states, "So little venture money goes into minority communities. This is a way to think about how we start to create wealth creation." PayPal is hoping that other businesses will follow their lead and invest more in Black-owned VCs and directly into Black-owned businesses. As many companies agonize over wading into politics and social movements, Mr. Schulman said that he believed companies have a moral obligation to act. Values that are just on a wall are just propaganda and are worse than having no values at all, he said. "I don't think that we can stand aside and hope that the problems of our society are just addressed by governments and nonprofits." So shout out to PayPal for making this specific investment, and hopefully the Black and Latino-led VC firms that you invested in will do a great job of choosing the right companies to actually invest. This actually leads me to my next article. And my next article comes directly from the Wharton School of Business. So maybe like 5 or 6 days ago, they had a panel discussion with 2 individuals. The title of the article is "Building a Bigger Tent: How VCs Can Support Black Founders." And this was a discussion with Erica James, who is a Black woman who is now the dean of the Wharton School of Business at the University of Pennsylvania, which is widely considered one of the 3 to 5 best business schools in the country. With Chris, what's Chris' last name? Chris Bennett, and also another partner, a white man by the name of Joshua Kopelman, who is a partner of First Round Capital. And Chris Bennett is a Black entrepreneur as well. So with the spotlight shining brightly this year on social justice and racial inequity, Black entrepreneurs are having a moment. But will that moment last long enough to transform the venture capital industry, which currently invests in startups with Black founders at a rate of less than 1%? Josh Kopelman, who, as I mentioned before, is a Wharton grad and also a partner at First Round Capital, which is a well-known seed stage venture fund. He says in the interview, "I think when it comes to racial equity, the venture industry has been a laggard and not a leader. These issues are important and they should be acknowledged and discussed, and VCs shouldn't hide from the conversation. As systemic racism has come into the spotlight, venture firms have all realized they need to do more." Chris Bennett, who is, like I said, is an entrepreneur. He runs a company called Wonder School, which is a company that helps licensed educators and childcare providers launch in-home preschools and daycares as well. Wonder School has raised a total of $24 million in just 2 years following its launch in 2016. And let's see. So the article gives a little bit of background into Chris Bennett's story. So he started out selling textbooks, reselling textbooks while he was a student at Wharton. And then he went to work at a private equity firm in Chicago before he started his first company in Silicon Valley called Soldsea, which was like an e-commerce platform built upon Facebook. In 2011, he started a nonprofit called Black Founders to network with others like him because of the experience of being a Black founder was so singular. In this interview, Chris is quoted by saying, "I remember it being sort of a radical idea. Why are you self segregating? Now I think it would be widely accepted, which is sort of exciting. The thinking in the community is starting to change, and that's largely because of what's happening across the nation." The interview at Wharton between these three individuals also brought up the challenge of bias and privilege. Bias is a big part of why it's so hard for Black entrepreneurs to get in front of investors. James pointed to research that has shown people are more likely to seek out others who look and sound like themselves and who come from similar backgrounds. For investors who are overwhelmingly white men, there is a level of discomfort with the familiar and a perceived risk of the unknown. So they went deeper into that particular conversation. But to end the interview, I wanted to share a quote by Kopelman in terms of his prescriptive way in terms of hiring and building the team. Kopelman's prescriptive of making the hire, sending the wire, and building a bigger tent is totally spot on. It's a really simple, or excuse me, he then states it's really simple. Invest in people of color, hire more people of color, invest in the careers of people of color. He said that has a really long-lasting effect, and I think will play a big role in changing the narrative that exists in the tech community today. So if you are in the VC space and the tech space and want to know what two leaders are thinking about the particular industry right now, highly recommend that you checking out this hour-long interview between the three of them. I think that you would get a lot out of it. The next article today comes from The Root. And it states, the title states, "Built to Last, American Express and Elaine Welteroth, I actually don't know how to say her name, Welteroth, launch a vodcast to celebrate Black-owned small businesses." By the next time we do FJT 5, I will know how to pronounce this young lady's name. So a new video podcast series by American Express aims to do exactly that. Built to Last, hosted by New York Times bestselling author, journalist, producer, and former editor-in-chief of Teen Vogue, Elaine Welteroth. The series, which launched Tuesday, aims to dive into the stories, history, and continued legacy of small businesses that shape American culture. As American Express tells us, it's an extension of its longstanding commitment to backing small and minority-owned businesses. The podcast features in-depth interviews with Black-owned small business owners who are thriving despite the challenges they face. Each episode honors the trailblazing Black entrepreneurs that paved the way for the business leaders of today. These conversations uncover and celebrate the stories, past and present, of Black entrepreneurship in America, and seek to inspire listeners to support Black-owned small businesses in their communities. Let's see. The premiere episode features Pinky Cole, CEO and founder of Atlanta's Slutty Vegan, the wildly successful plant-based burger chain, which opened its third brick-and-mortar location last weekend in the Edgewood area of the city, a remarkable feat amid a pandemic that has proven devastating to both Black-owned businesses and the restaurant industry alike. So I think there's one last quote that I wanted to share in here. Yes, so new episodes will be available approximately weekly beginning October 27th, which was yesterday, through December 8th, each featuring more in-depth interviews with Black-owned small business owners, including Issa Rae, Hannah Diop of Sienna Naturals, Coriana and Brianna Dotson of Coco and Breezy, and many, many additional companies. So check out it on, I believe it's in Spotify. It's also on iTunes, and the American Express YouTube channel has these interviews listed. So please make sure you check it out. And the link to the article is in the description as well. The fourth article is really an interview, and this is a site that I've never heard of. I believe it's a United Kingdom-based site. But the title of the article is "The Zine Talks to a Vibe Called Tech about racism and technology. I just like that name. So I thought this would be an interesting article to share, an interview to share. But the article states exposing and tackling racism in technology is the goal of UK initiative, a vibe called tech. The zine spoke to co-founder Charlene Prempeh about the responsibility companies have in protecting the Black community on and offline. Launched in 2018, A Vibe Called Tech explores the impact that technology has on Black people in the UK. Prempeh, Prempeh's work spans across the various forms that technology takes, from social media platforms to artificial intelligence and biometric devices. She has some, interesting quotes. She seems like someone who is very straightforward in terms of her thoughts and what she believes. Prempeh told Dezine, the ways in which tech is used as a tool of oppression are numerous. We often talk about it like it's new, but technology's been coming for Black people since the beginning. Even when you look back to the start of photography in certain lights or with a flash on, you couldn't get a Black face. There has always been this sense that Black people aren't being considered when technology is developed, and that has just persisted. All right, there's a quote in here. A 2018 MIT study, for instance, found that commercial gender recognition systems misclassify darker skinned females at rates of up to 34%, while error rates among lighter skinned males are around 0.8%. So this article and this interview really gets into systemic racism, even as it relates to technology and how technology is developed. Since most technology is developed by white men who have these jobs working in these corporations, there seems to be an inherent bias in terms of what computers and what the AI systems and algorithms can pick up and what they can't pick up as well. But yeah, I highly recommend that you check out this article in the zine. I'll make sure to check out more from this publication moving forward as well. All right. So the last article today comes from the Denver Post. It states Denver's first Black-owned gun club opens as more African Americans buy firearms amid pandemic and racial tension. So the 1770 Armory and Gun Club is Colorado's first Black-owned gun club, and it opened its doors last week as Black people increasingly are arming themselves amid a pandemic and racial division within the United States. So I believe the club was started by an Aurora church pastor. Her name is Wanda James, and she's the gun club's co-owner. Given the place in which we are in America, politically, racially, African Americans don't feel safe anymore, Wanda stated. It's sad. It's a sad scenario when people don't feel comfortable in their homes, walking down the street, or in their cars. I found this next stat to be very interesting. In the first 6 months of 2020, a record 10.3 million firearm transactions were processed by the US retailers, according to a report from the National Shooting Sports Foundation. Among those sales, the highest overall increase in purchases were among Black men and women, who bought 58.2% more guns in the first half of 2020 when compared with the same period in 2019. Overall, Black men made up 9.3% of all firearm sales, while Black women accounted for 5.4% during the period. Still, though, Black people are less likely to own guns than white people. In 2017, about a quarter of Black Americans owned firearms, while 36% of white people own firearms, according to a Pew Research study. The article then talks quite a bit about this idea of protecting the family. The owners chose 5 points. That's a neighborhood in Denver. The owners chose 5 points so the new gun range would be affordable and accessible to people in Denver. And while the neighborhood is undergoing considerable change through new development, lead instructor Master Young said, I want people to know that in the community, or in the middle of this reconstruction, there are still Black-owned businesses in the community. The owners chose the name 1770 after the year of the American Revolution started, and the year Crispus Attucks, a Black man who is widely considered the first American to die in the Revolution, was killed. So shout out to this gun range. Yeah, and well, the article then talks about how or why Black men in particular have been not really buying firearms in the past because of association with street gangs, and also fears of run-ins with the police as well. So shout out to the 1770 gun range for the work that they're doing. We love to see Black-owned businesses in all facets and all spaces as well. So that's it. Those are my 5 favorite articles as it relates to Black finance, wealth, and business for today, October 28th, 2020. Let me know your thoughts about these articles in the comments. Also, let me know what you think about the FJT 5 segment in general. Is this something that you would like for us to continue on? We have about 2 or 3 more weeks of doing this test run. If you all like it, we'll continue. If not, we'll go in a different direction. Before you get out of here, please make sure that you like, share, and subscribe to the Financial Juneteenth channel. On behalf of Financial Juneteenth, my name is Lawrence Watkins. Take care, be blessed, and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye. Today's video is brought to you by the Black Business School. At the Black Business School, we don't help you just climb the corporate ladder, we help you build your own as well. We provide a culturally relevant yet practical education in all things wealth building at an affordable price. So no matter if you want additional freedom in your day-to-day life, you would like to leave a legacy of generational wealth behind to your family and friends, or you just want additional security and stability going into your golden years of retirement, the Black Business School has courses and offerings for you. So head over to theblackbusinessschool.com to learn more. Take care and see you in class soon. Bye-bye.